Hey, it's your boy B Fox with the Blind Dance Film Festival, and today I'm here with Michael Benson, the director and founder of the Visual Experience Foundation. Michael, you've got an event coming up on August 14th in Long Branch, New Jersey. Are you taking people who are blind surfing?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. And Ben, I want to thank you for asking me to come on this morning and have a cup of coffee with you and talk about the event.
Brother, when we started talking about the possibility, which is a reality, of making a documentary series about people and their adventures for Blind Dance Film Festival, my mind started going to all sorts of places. But the fact of the matter is, these are places you've already been with people that are blind, going blind at different stages for years.
This is our sixth year in doing the event, and it's a very powerful event.
Yes. The very first time that I saw you, Michael, online, I was coming home. It was the day of, or the day after, from getting my diagnosis, finally, of legally blind, right? And as I'm trying to explain to my family what it means to be going blind versus legally blind versus completely, totally blind, your website was one of the ones that I showed them, VEF, Visual Experience Foundation.org.
So we are the Visual Experience Foundation, and you can get there.org, or you can go to lovevision.org and you can find us there.
Okay. Well, when that happened in my life, and I was able to go and find out there's somebody like yourself taking people like myself that are going blind slowly, fully blind. I'm legally blind now. As you saw, I was able to read your shirt by leaning in through my tunnel of vision. Find out there's people doing what you're doing. No. Nobody's doing what you're doing, Michael. Finding out that you're out there doing what you're doing. It warmed my heart. It lifted my heart.
Now I'm going to back up and I'll tell you about August 14th. And then I'll tell you why we do all of this. Is August 14th is a blind surfing event. And there's very many different levels of blindness, right? Like you have shared with your almost blind, like, you know, people don't get it. Like some people see total darkness, but a lot of people have, you know, vision out here, vision in here. I happen to have glaucoma. So my one eye, if I shut one eye, I can't see at all. It's just fog. And I have advanced glaucoma in my right eye. And the reason we're doing the actual blind surfing event is, well, it's not just to give blind people a phenomenal opportunity to come out and have this amazing experience, because, you know, you can lose your sight, but you don't have to lose your vision. And I know there's a movie going on in everybody's head. I know when I can't see things, there's a movie going on in my head. And to be able to experience the sounds, the smells, there's a distinct experience of being on the beach, you know, hearing the seagull and smelling the salt water, and then getting on a surfboard. And we do this with, you know, expert surfers in low tide. People have a life jacket on, and they're on the paddle boards. So there's a surfer on the back of the board, an expert surfer. It's almost like tandem sky jumping. And you're actually really experiencing like fighting, going under the waves to paddle out, turning the board around, and they're paddling with you. And then that expert surfer's like, after you've gotten a little bit of a lesson on land, is pulling you up and helping you balance the board. And then of course you fall, right? He falls because every ride ends in, like, you know, popping off the board. And we have safety people that merge on everyone. And, you know, so you say, well, what a phenomenal experience. People go in there afraid. These are not professional blind surfers. These are people that want to say, I can do it. I can live the life I want. I can live my life with no limits. And we provide this opportunity for the blind to go out. And there's various degrees of people petrified, and people like, this is no sweat. And I think we find that in, regardless of people's, you know, vision. But the reason we decided to do this event was to send a message worldwide. And that message is to the almost blind community. That message is to that young guy who gets diagnosed with RP and he still has vision and he's living his life in total, like, who's going to love me if I go blind? And maybe he starts drinking, or maybe he says the words, I'm going to kill myself if I go blind. And so the event is impactful, but the getting the word out afterwards is even more impactful to all the different groups that are out there of the people in the hallway. You know, the people that are still afraid maybe to engage with the blind. I know I was. I know I was. So that's why we do this. That's why we bring the blind surfing for them. And they're the mentors that day to send a message all over the world that, you know, regardless if, God forbid, technology cannot save someone's vision as fast as they're losing it. Because I want to give a shout out to technology. Yeah. I mean, I have advanced glaucoma. I was the youngest baby in the world to have glaucoma surgery. Technology has helped me. So we don't want to just say, hey, we're the blind, or and we see a little bit of a separation going on between the people that are trying to cure and the people that are already blind. I stand in the middle and I say, look, if technology can't save your vision or prolong your vision as long as you'd like, that if you lose your sight, you still have your vision, and there's this amazing life that you can live with no limits. You can live the life you want. And so we're basically, we have one hand over here and one hand over here, and we're bringing everyone together.
I love the fact that you were looking at all sides of this, the medical research side, right? The experience side for a person like myself. Like, you're even out there raising awareness, right? You've been on international worldwide news more than once. What does that feel like to have somebody, like when you went to Niagara Falls, doors off, with a group of people that are blind, including a woman who's both deaf and blind with Usher syndrome, and she was able to feel the mist coming up on her skin from Niagara Falls, the helicopter, the doors off. What does it feel like, number one, to provide that experience, to be part of it, and number two, to be able to raise awareness and have that focal point of time to share this message? What does that feel like?
For me, it's more of a driven gratitude and give back, and you know, more to be revealed. Like, I can do a whole hour segment on the things that happened to me as a child, why I started this, the experience that I had on a plane, and basically I said, okay, I'll do it. And I went and registered okayilldoit.com. I never did anything with it, but I have that URL somewhere. And I'm following this prompting in my spirit that I need to give it away. And the things that I consider myself an overcomer, I did drink, and I'm now sober 38 years. I did say, if I go blind, I'm going to kill myself. You know, I did jump into bad relationships and felt codependent. Like, well, she doesn't care that I could go blind, so I should stay with her. All of these real things that people go through. And today, I know the blind has their challenges, but in many ways, they're the healed ones. Mm. So, you know, it's ministry for me. So when you ask me how I feel, I believe we're supposed to have one hand up and one hand down. Have a mentor and be a mentor. That's what I really, really believe. And I think everybody and I learned that really helping people with recovery. And by the way, I've gotten people that are going blind or blind into recovery because they're drinking. So, it just crosses. All of these things cross in. But having someone who's an overcomer, and then you don't have to be, a guru. Just reach down and help somebody else that's a little further along than you, that might be a little more afraid than you. And somehow your glass gets filled every time you do it. So, we've done Grand Canyon, Niagara Falls, Disney, sporting events, ballooning. We have we take people out sailing. I had one gal, she was nervous to get on the boat. And we're on a 50-foot sailboat, and we go and we find clams at her feet. Then we do a clam bake. And by the end of the event, we had her steering a 50-foot sailboat by the sound of the wind, totally blind. When you hear it flapping, you're not into the wind. Turn in. Okay, turn in a little more. When you hear that whistle, you're right on peak for the maximum wind. And what an experience. And for them, and I can't describe the feeling that I get when I'm able to give this gift of vision away to someone else.
Wow. Wow.
So I think we're going to hit 50 surfers this year. We've had more. This event on August 14th. If you're regionally and you can get there, even if you don't want to go out in the water, to come and support the people that are going out. We're expecting, with 50 surfers, somewhere between 100 and 130 people right now to be on the beach. It's not our largest event, but coming out of COVID, we're very, very excited about it. And we're excited that you're coming, that you're going to be there, and that you're going to be able to interview some of these people and hear from them. Instead of me, I get on the camera and I do this, but there's some people that have never been to the ocean that will be there, certainly never on a surfboard. And we're very excited to give this experience.
It's because of this experience and experiences like this that when I got that diagnosis, I'm going blind, retinitis pigmentosa, detached retinas, cataracts. We don't know how long it's going to be. I was able to see you. I was able to see people's faces through my tunnel, having the time of their life. And I said, oh, going blind doesn't look that bad. And then lastly, I was hoping you could talk to us about what it means to burn it. Because I could let the cat out of the bag, but we got the man right here. And when I first understood burning it, I could see through my tunnel your face.
I'm not a good interviewee. You asked me that like way back in the interview, and I talked about everything.
I'm just bringing it back, brother, because it's importante. I'm excited to hear about it.
So it really kind of goes into my story, being born with glaucoma and having glaucoma surgery was experimental at the time.
The youngest,
I didn't really understand.
The youngest baby in the history of the world to have glaucoma surgery, Michael Benson.
At the time, I was. Of course, technology has increased. I was a couple of days old. And, they ripped me from my mom in Jersey and took me to into New York City. Imagine being the mom, like something's wrong with his eyes. They were oversized. And next thing I'm in, New York City. And of course, I don't remember any of this. I just really hear the stories, the impact on my parents. And then I would go to Madison Avenue, every 3 months or 6 months to see this Dr. Adolf Posner, who now is deceased, and they have lenses named after him. So, I'm just from day one, I've been blessed. And at 16 years old, I needed both of my eyes operated on again. And now I'm, teenager, know what's going on. And this is where, it took me about 5 years to pull it together from 16 to 21. I was in pretty bad shape emotionally because I had a perfect storm in my life. I was a wrestler that got hurt. My dad left my mom, and they told me I needed to take Braille all at 16 years old. And it was not really a good time. But, giving away, that I'm an overcomer in my life and the things that have happened, that's ancient history. But now I want to tell other people about it. And to give it away, what I had been doing since a young kid is I would go places and I would shut my eyes. I was so afraid of being blind. I would pretend I was blind, and I would focus on the sounds, the smells. Like, you can't hear it in this video, but I have my eyes open right now, and I could focus on the birds, but this whole time I wasn't listening to the birds. Now I'm bringing the birds in. There's an air conditioner next door running on the house next door. And down to the maybe I was in, Hawaii, and Japanese people were speaking behind me, or the smell of the hot dog vendor at the Grand Canyon. Yeah, there's a hot dog vendor at the Grand Canyon. So all of these different things, I would then whisper the words "burn it," and I would open my eyes, and I would put myself in I'm going to say a minute, 2 minutes long. You know, when you do this, I'm like someone in a trance. I'm now marrying all my other senses, like musical tracks, into exactly what I'm looking at, down to a blade of grass blowing, or I have one burned memory at the DoubleTree on the Gulf of Mexico in Treasure Island, Florida, where it's so vivid, where a woman in a blue and white stripe, like beach dress is chasing a boy for a ball. And I look up and there's a palm trees like this and a boat going past the sunset. And I had tears dripping down my eyes. And I have been able to do this all over the world now, where, well, first off, let me finish the process. At night, I will meditate on all of those things along with the vision that I had. And then in the morning again. And so today, I don't even need to close my eyes. I can be on an elephant in Thailand and feel the wind and the temperature. I can be ziplining in Costa Rica or kayaking in Ireland, or I just did a tour in Rome of the Colosseum and burned it there. And, for me, I don't really talk about all the places I've been, all the time. But I can tell you that this is why I started the Visual Experience Foundation, was because of exactly what I had been doing. And I made it my priority. And so imagine, I'm 59 years old now. I've been traveling and burning visual memories that if I ever lose my sight, I'll always have my vision. And so now I'm teaching this to others. And so that's burning it.
I got to burn it with you right before we hopped on, a helicopter, also with no doors, and went around New York City, around the Empire State Building. We got as close to the Statue of Liberty as you legally can, the helicopter, and they looped it like 3 times because there's multiple people that are going blind that are just going, oh my gosh, that's what that is right there, the Statue of Liberty. It was really cool. And right before we went, with the helicopter right behind us as they're kicking those blades on, we were burning it. And we got it on film.
That was such a great experience. And, I wanted to give a shout out to the AFB and their 100-year anniversary coming up on September 23rd. Yep. And I've already reached out, and I have these relationships that on either the 22nd or the morning of the 23rd, I have to pin it down. I'm going to do a flight with people either blind or going blind around New York City. And I'm with, New York Fly Online, right? They have 1 million followers, and we're just going to send out that message to their following. And we're doing that flight in honor of the AFB 100-year anniversary. And I actually reached out to Kirk Adams to see if he'd like to be on it. I'm on that flight. I'm going to be speaking to him this week.
Nice.
And so, yeah, we love doing these things, these experiences, giving these experiences. And it's all about having a shared experience. People come on an experience. They're all excited about getting to Niagara Falls, which is an unbelievable place to burn it. And Niagara Falls, USA has been with us for years now. And I mean, you get up on the hurricane deck and the wind and the falls, and you're getting soaked. And what an experience, to be able to do that and give that. But I want to really drill down to one last story for this coffee with Ben Fox here, because I want to bring you around, and you're gonna you want to film a lot of these different things we do for Blind Dance, and I think that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And by the way, you're a blind filmmaker, and that is awesome. And I can't wait for you to do a feature film that has nothing to do with the blind.
Oh my gosh,
just
brother.
like there's, blind singers and blind athletes. And it's an honor to watch you, who, prior to losing your vision, won a Sundance Award. And now you're coming back to your passion in filmmaking, and what a message that you're sending out. And it's so powerful, Ben. But I want to end with this story, because when you ask me why I'm really doing this, So I've shared openly that I've been working with people with alcohol problems for years. And, you know, I'm in my 38th year without touching a drop. And certainly, you know, tell a young kid that he's going blind. The doctors that say we treat the whole patient, they don't. I mean, it's like they check my eye pressure, talk about my eyes. The anxiety that I would have before I go to a doctor's appointment, and there was no one really to talk to. And so through these shared experiences, we break down the ego, and, you know, people are crying by the end and hugging because we're really all really, regardless of how together you think you are, we're all just taking one day at a time trying to get through this. And we is such a powerful word. And so I'm at this recovery meeting, and guy says, oh, they know that that I have glaucoma. At this point, Visual Experience Foundation had not been started. This is one of the catalysts. There was a fellow who had chickenpox as a kid, and he got shingles. And I'm not a doctor, and I know about glaucoma and RP and Stargardt's and a number of other eye diseases through my association with everybody on why they went blind or they're going blind. So I don't know too much about it, but there was no way to stop his vision loss. There was something that went on from chickenpox as a kid and now shingles, and he had limited time to see. And he already was wearing dark glasses, and he was at one of these meetings that I went to, and a guy at the end of the meeting walked me up, and we're having this conversation. And I started telling him about Burn It. And I said, bro, I said, I've been going all over the world. I said, let me tell you, I go, you got to go to this place in Hawaii. It's called the Toilet Bowl. It's on the left side of Anaba Bay. You walk around, there's this long canal. And what happens is as the high tide and the waves come in, this huge hole that's about 10 to 12, maybe 15 feet deep, fills up with water, and everybody slides in. And then just like as waves go out, it goes out, you go, and the next thing you're down, we got to film this, Ben. The next thing you know, you're standing and you're looking up. There's no way for you to climb out. And it could be a couple of minutes. You're with a bunch, almost like you're in an elevator with people you never met. And then all of a sudden, a couple of minutes later, the waves come back in, fill up this canal, and you float back up to the top, and you can get out, or you can do it again. And they call it the Toilet Bowl. And not a lot of people know it's there. And
wow.
And, you know, like I've been there a couple of times in Hawaii and experiencing this. Now, you see how excited I got?
Yeah.
I'm telling this to a guy we called Blind John. That's what they called him in the recovery group. I don't know if he liked it, but he was the blind guy, right? They called him Blind John. And he wasn't even blind yet, but he started wearing dark glasses. He'd laugh it off. And so I'm telling him this story, and I'm like, man, you got to go to the Toilet Bowl. And I go, oh, you know what? I also got to do this. And I was talking to him for about 20 minutes without taking a breath. Hard to imagine with me, right? And he says to me at the very end, I get done and I shut up. And he goes, that's great, Michael, but I'm out of time and I don't have any money. And I just that moment of silence that I just let it hit with you. I went to my car and I cried. I thanked God. I said, I'm so blessed. I'm so grateful. I gotta help. I gotta do this. And then I put it off. And then I had this experience coming back from a business trip. And I had this experience and I said, okay, I'll do it. And I've been doing it since April of 2014. And whatever the mind can think of, if the resources are there, it's been voluntarily up to this point. We put together experiences for people, not for fun, although it is fun, but really to have a shared experience, to build frictionless relationships, to dig down really deep, and that we can all heal together. And that's what Visual Experience Foundation is about. Oh. Okay. But that's it. That's your interview. Thank you so much.
All of a sudden, I'm like, dude, my eye is getting squampus. I'm looking right behind your head, and this thing is coming towards him. Like, it's going to hit you. I didn't know how heavy it was going to be. I'm like, oh no. My goal this year is not, once I launch this thing, is to not have a job myself, because I never get the last couple of years, I didn't get to spend time with anyone, any real time with anyone, because I was in the middle of running around.
And this year, my goal is to really greet everyone, find out where you're at. We're coming out of COVID. And what you have to say matters to me. What you're going through matters to us, and let's launch forward as we can overcome and be overcomers in our life. And all I ask is that you give it away yourself. What's been freely given to you, you reach down, bring somebody with you, get somebody there, get a family member. Parents are going through it. This event, we have surf lessons for siblings. They're dragged to events, and all the focus is on the blind child, right? If it's that scenario. So we have wave runner rides and surfing lessons for those that are not blind. This whole thing that we're doing is a community event. And if all you did was sit on the beach, have some Jersey Mike's, which is providing lunch for all our people this year, or a bag of Frito-Lay, which is providing our chips this year, and fellowship with others, this is where it happens. This is where the magic happens and a shift happens. And that's our goal for this event.
I love it, brother. I love it. I really do.
Thank you for having me on.
I got to say one thing real quick. I really appreciate the thing about the Sundance Award. I never won an actual award at Sundance other than I was in the first year of the Gen Y filmmakers. There were 8 of us that won the honor of being in the Gen Y group. And so I guess that is an award in of itself. We had our own theater. They had 2 premieres for us. Yeah, okay. But I also want to say this last thing on that. Thank you for this opportunity to get back to real filmmaking. I've been out all this last year making short films. I've been all across the country, but I've been wanting to make this film with you, this feature film with you. I'm really excited. You were the first person, I'm serious, in the blindness community that reached out to me and said, I really love what you're up to. Let's hang out. And I go, Michael Benson, the Burning It guy. And next thing I know, we're in helicopters. So thank you, Michael. I look forward to going all over the world with you. And I'll bring my camera and the crew. The Working While Blind crew, brother.
God bless you, Ben. Keep doing what you're doing. And we is a powerful word.
Amen. God bless you, brother. See you out there. See y'all out there. Oh, surfing, August 14th, Long Branch, Surfing for Vision, Visual Experience Foundation with Michael Benson.
Hey, go to surfingforvision.org. We'll bring you right to the section of our webpage. If you want to read about the event, if you want to, we'd like you to register even if you're a guest, so we know how many people we're having on the beach this year. That's for the city of Long Branch. We're totally supported by them. So go ahead to surfingforvision.org.